good evening. Good evening. Please come in, take a seat if you haven't already. My name is Sienna Mayam. I'm here to help launch this amazing magazine called Shift. I'm not sure, did you all get a bag? Did you get a bag so you have the magazine? Amazing. I'm not sure about you, but have you seen it? It's gorgeous. I myself have a color-coordinated bookshelves at home, so this is amazing. But for all of you who haven't been able to read it yet, it is a really, really interesting and thought-provoking read. Not only the interviews, but also it has an anti-racist newsroom test, and I filled it in, and the answers were quite painfully honest and interesting. Let's keep it at interesting. So if you haven't seen the test, definitely do the test. Thank you for coming out tonight. For the past couple of months, we've had a team work really hard on the project called Reframing Migrants in European Media. And we're thrilled that we can finally share those results with you here tonight. So tonight calls for a little celebration, but also we want to honor the people and organizations who are truly changing the narrative around migration in Europe. So thank you for coming out tonight. Tonight will be the last evening of a two-day assembly with over more than 50 international guests. Most of them you'll probably meet tonight either here on stage or in the breakout rooms, where they'll be presenting their own media outlets, practices, and perspectives. But we're going to start in this room, where I'll introduce you to some of our partner in crimes who helped create this amazing magazine, and we'll have a little Q&A. You can ask questions. Just know that we have a really tight schedule because we want to introduce you to as many people as possible. So if we don't have time for your questions, you can always ask them afterwards, as they're going to be here for the whole event. After this session, we're going to go into the 4 breakout sessions, which you can see on the screen behind me. Who here has a program, like physical program? Everybody's living in the digital age? Woo, good for you, good for you. So this is our program, or you have a physical program, or if you're feeling adventurous, you can also just wander around the halls and follow the directions. Just know that in some of the rooms, they're actually recording, so just be sure to pick a room and try and get there on time so you don't disturb the recording. As I said, good to know the magazine is free $99, so pick one up for yourself or maybe for a friend or a colleague who would be really interested in reading this. And then I'd like to give the floor to one of the people who made this possible. He is the host of the City Rights Radio, founder of the City Rights app, and host of the podcast Reframing Migration. Please put your hands together for Mohammed Ba. Mohammed's all the way in the back, so we need a longer clap.
I know if I fell, everybody would laugh. Thank God I did not. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this community assembly. Welcome to this space. From this moment, your space. I'm glad to see many friendly faces and also a lot of new faces. Welcome to people of all genders. Welcome to all people of African descent, Black, African American, Asian descent, Arab descent, European descent, those who identify as Hispanics, Latinx, and people of mixed or multiple descent. Even though today we will use English, we welcome all languages spoken. You can raise your hand if I name your language, so people can know who they can reach to in case they don't understand something. Arab, European descent. Oh, that's a mistake. I'll go back to make it perfect. I welcome all languages spoken, and if I speak your language, please raise your hands so people can know who to go to in case they need help with translation. Dutch, Spanish. I see a lot of hands. English, French, Polish, Tagalog. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. German, Italian, Arabic, Urdu, Tigrinya, Fula, Madingo, Wolof, Sinhala, Farsi, Bahasa, Flemish, Kazakh, Ukrainian, Bikolono, and Filipino. And I'm sorry if I did not mention your language. Koreans. Welcome to the people residing in Italy, Germany, the Netherlands, Poland, Spain, United Kingdom, Bilbao, Ireland, Turkey, Greece, France, Belgium, Morocco, and Switzerland. And any I have missed here. In my heart, I live in Guinea-Conakry and Telimile. Welcome to those who miss their homes, their countries, their cultures, and their traditions. Let's not forget those who miss their families and friends. Welcome to the people of different class backgrounds, working class, middle class, owning class, or those who aren't sure where they fit on the class spectrum. Welcome to the people who are currently struggling with getting access to the resources necessary for survival, like healthcare, adequate housing, reliable transportation, or childcare. And welcome to the people who currently do have more access to those resources. We welcome everybody. I welcome people that are gay, lesbian, bisexual, heterosexual, pansexual, queer, or others for whom none of these labels fit. Welcome to people with disabilities, visible or invisible. Welcome to your bodies and the different ways you experience yours. This may include chronic pain, strength, tension, etc. Any survivors, welcome to you. Welcome to the single people, married, partnered, dating, in monogamous or polyamorous relations. Welcome to teenagers and those in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Welcome to everybody. I welcome your emotions, joy and bliss, grief, rage, indignation, contentment, disappointment, and all other emotions that might sometimes be very hard to label. Let's think of those who support you to be here, your families, be it genetic or otherwise, your support system. Welcome to those who are here. Welcome to those here who have care responsibilities and needed to stretch themselves to join us here today. Let us remind ourselves of those who couldn't stretch themselves and were not able to join us this day. People with different faith, religions, traditions, faith practices, private practices. Welcome to those who do not have a tradition, agnostics, atheists and seekers, Welcome to those dear to us who have passed away, those who are no longer with us physically, but their presence can still be felt. Welcome to our elders, those here in this room, in our lives, and those who have passed away, but left their impressions on us. I welcome people who have experienced an exclusion of any sort and those who are fighting it, all of you. I welcome those with and without documents to our community. In our community, we only see humans. Welcome to the women who experience sexism in the newsroom. Welcome to all who experience any form of discrimination while practicing their jobs. Welcome to activists trying to get their stories out in the news. Welcome to the journalist who is the only person with a migrant background in the newsroom. The journalist who is a minority in the newsroom. Welcome to all those who want to change the media landscape for the better. Welcome to all who keep trying to amplify voices of migrants. Welcome to the white heterosexual male who wants to change but doesn't know how. We can help you. Welcome to you, editors-in-chief. Welcome to funders, to the supporters, and to those who listen to our fight for inclusivity and diversity. Welcome to the White Institute. I repeat, welcome to the White Institute who feel the need to change, and they make the effort to be here. We welcome you. I welcome the courageous entrepreneur who started their own media outlets and platform to amplify the voices of the voiceless. My name is Mohammed Ba, and on behalf of the Here to Support and the migrant community in Amsterdam, I welcome you all. Welcome to this community assembly. Welcome to this space. From this moment, your space. Welcome.
Thank you, Mohammed. So the following video was made during the first community gathering of Reframing Migrants in European Media. Big thanks to Abdil Sergua and Ariel Sosa. Where are you? Hey, thank you. Please take a look.
Decolonization does not only mean breaking down statues, it's really the institution having the white norm as the norm that has to change, and it has to change on different levels.
Let's start talking about Spain, about Europe, about how they still oppressing our communities.
We are used to be the only black person in the room all the time, and for this reason, having known especially women of color that work in newsrooms in media is empowering.
A mí me gusta decir que cuando estoy con personas racializadas, con personas no blancas, normalmente nos hablamos sin subtítulos. Y eso es fantástico. No tenemos que estar explicando todo el rato, no, esto es por esto otro, sino que simplemente sale.
One of the biggest challenges we have as experts, journalists, media experts, is that our expertise is not being recognized by the mainstream media. What they want to hear from us is our experience. That is what matters to them. So they want to hear my story, about my personal story, about what happened to me. instead of trying to listen to me, to hear my views, my expertise on the issues at hand. Instead, they will ask somebody else who is white to talk about the expertise side, and they ask me to talk about my experience.
Like, representation is important, and I don't think anyone can discuss that. But I think it's very hard to escape tokenism, and that's why I think events like this are so important, because it gives agency and empowerment to people of color, and the people of color, LGBTQ people, women, you know, to create their own ideas. We've seen fanzines, we've seen a magazine, we've seen websites, we've seen like very interesting projects that are created from people in the community.
It's important to not get influenced by the status quo, by the power, by the ideas of colonialism, racism, sexism, homophobia, and all that. So get that independence. I think that leads to change, to a real change.
You don't have to be good at everything. You just have to find the people that can help you with what you're already good at, but also do the things that you're not good at.
Last statement, be anti-racist. Ahí está. Listo.
So you heard it, just be anti-racist. Okay, okay, okay. Our following speaker is a TV anchor at TV3, which is a Catalan news broadcaster, and she was the first person of color to be a TV anchor at Catalan TV. Please put your hands together for Beatriz Duodu.
Whoa. Yeah, I'm not that tall. Wow, thank you for the beautiful applause and all the love. I can feel it from here. Thank you so much. So yeah, my name is Bea Duodu. I am part from, well, I'm from Barcelona. I am part from an anti-racist organization called Conciencia Afro, and we have been a partner of the Reframing Migrant project since the beginning. So more or less, as what you saw here on the video, Reframing Migrant Representation in European Media is a project that has the aim to change the perspectives and the narrative of migrant and refugee people in European media, in a lot of countries, all European countries. Thank you so much. I didn't know how to do it. So as I was saying, we are different partners. For example, there is European Culture Foundation. There are other partners like Here to Support, also Zemos 98, so we're different partners that we work together. Our first meeting was in Madrid in April in 2022. And I have to say that it was a very useful meeting because we got the chance to put together all the timing, all the outputs that we want from this project. And also we were able to set some values that we really wanted them to be present throughout the whole project. For example, something very beautiful we decided, it was that whenever we made an event, we organized an event, we would try that the money and the resources would go to migrant communities. So for example, here in Madrid, when we did this amazing event you've seen in the video, the venue was from Conciencia Afro, the places where we were eating, all the catering, absolutely the photographers, all the creators, everyone was from a migrant background, so as to be able to give some of these European resources and money to them, of course. So. So since then, we have been connecting people, as we were saying, connecting activists, journalists, artists all over, from all parts of Europe, and trying to put them together to build these beautiful connections. So I would say, in the way I see it, so why is this project important, or why is it important to do projects like this? Because basically media is power. Who is in media, who has presence in media, who has resources to put their information in media, they have power. They have the power to shape and build the way people see the world. So migrant and refugee communities, we want some of this power. So that's why we need projects like this. Also, as I was saying, we have the need to hear alternative stories. We are bored and tired of seeing ourselves represented in a stereotyped way, and like always the same story. So it's like we need to fight for these spaces in media. What have we learned? We have learned, I would say, well, I'll go there later. I would say that throughout this project, the partners and all of the beautiful people that has been part of it, because it's become like a very big family and every time we're more and more, I would say that we have learned that we are not alone. Like, it's people from different countries, from Italy, from Spain, from the Netherlands, from France coming together, and suddenly we figure out that our concerns are coming on, like the under-representation and the bad representation of migrant and refugee communities. It's something European, like it happens in all countries. So it got us to see that it's not like an individual issue, but like an European thing. Also, we figured out that sometimes we look at the mainstream media as the only possible way to create like an impact or like influence in people's life, but it's not like that, because working on this project, we have seen that smaller media, like for example, I don't know, I would mention some of this, Dots Media, which is from our partners from Italy. We also have the Banana magazine, which is like the first magazine media created by refugee journalists in Spain. We have Afro Colectivas also in Spain. I mean, there are a lot of little media, alternative media that are creating, community media that are creating a huge impact. And then my favorite one that I think we have been learning with this project is that we found somehow hope, because sometimes we feel tired, like we feel like our job is like we're doing it constantly, and it's like I feel so tired, I feel so alone doing this, I don't really see the results, but coming together has made us see that there's actually hope, and if we keep working together, there's really like goals we can reach. And then how did this materialize? So basically we created, for example, not this, but well, this is the podcast. We created a fantastic podcast, Mo did it, you can listen to it. We also created the anti-racist media test that we were mentioning before. It's in page 54 of the magazine, so you can check it. If you have a newspaper, a newsroom, you can do like the test and see if you need to work more on your anti-racist perspective or if you're doing well. Also, we have created other things like a platform with a host writer, which is this huge platform that puts together journalists from all around the world. We are working on tandems as well. We take a journalist or an activist from one country and we invite them to another country so they can see the media there, how it works, etc. And then the also way around. And then as I was saying, host writer, etc. And then I would say, then suddenly we had like this question. We thought, okay, so we would like to see what an anti-racist newsroom looks like. So why don't we create one? And we did. And then this baby happened. So that's it from my part. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure here to be with you.
My name is Tina Su, and I'm a multimedia journalist based in Berlin.
This is Mahmoud Lanani. I'm an Egyptian journalist and documentary producer.
I'm Vivian Müller, and I work and live in Hamburg, Germany as a creative.
And I'm Ariel Sosa, and for this project I am the designer, and in my normal life I am a father.
My name is Osama Sayad, investigative journalist.
My name is Moja Jereo. I'm a journalist based in Madrid. I mostly focus on race and migration.
I'm Gabriela Ramirez. I am a multimedia journalist from Venezuela based in Berlin, and I'm the head of data and multimedia at Unbiased News.
So we are in the Reframing Migrants project, trying to change the narrative and the perspectives about the migrants, refugees, and racialized people.
So around a dozen of us are here together in Amsterdam for 2 weeks to do this kind of experiment of a decolonizing newsroom.
We're trying to practice a new practice of a newsrooms that have different type of approach. A newsroom that doesn't belong to the mainstream.
Working together on a 80-page magazine.
We are interviewing founders, co-founders, media makers, media initiative, most of them led by migrants, refugees, and the diaspora.
To see examples of people who have kind of reclaimed the narratives for themselves by creating their own newsrooms, by creating their own podcasts, or creating their own TikTok channels and new media to change the narrative around migration.
It's getting their insight to see how we can just amplify their voices, help the media landscape.
We have a small community. We see their practices, we see how they are really changing the scene, the coverage for the migrants issue, how they choose their topics. It's not the traditional way.
Our work in decolonizing the newsroom in Madrid, where we work on this anti-racist media test and anti-racist newsroom test.
So we hope that what we create is something like a toolbox. It's a set of best practices, recommendations, and examples that people can apply in their own newsrooms and their own journalistic practices.
Welcome everybody to the second editorial meeting. Oh yeah, thanks for progress.
Yes,
Trying to set up a decolonizing newsroom.
And what this means is something that we are exploring together.
I think it should be free, diverse, unbiased.
And working with an anti-racist and migrant perspective.
What is knowledge? Who is an expert? What is relevant?
I think this is all related with how we do the work we do.
A newsroom has different point of view, different perspective. Not also our practice, but also other practices that reflects the values.
So for the second group, to give perspective, and I wrote specifically on how they can improve professionally and economically by reaching a new audience. I think that's a
Both of us are working with Julia on deciding the visual aspects of the magazine.
Showcase or show the diversity of the topic, not only represented in the people, but also in the colors and the textures.
Shift. Actions for Migrating Perspectives.
Actually, I thought it was really interesting today because it's the first time that we worked with the journalists in a group and having a discussion and everything. So it was quite refreshing. So I just realized it is possible to working in such a group where you don't have to explain yourself, or where everybody is from a same perspective somehow. That's really always so pleasant. I just realized it's such a different experience and such a nice experience.
Even if we're incredibly diverse, there's this feeling of belonging. We both fell in here today, and I felt like we just got into it without
Exactly.
It felt like it made sense.
So effortless. It's
Yes.
yeah.
So you've seen the, hey! Yeah, something happening, okay, yes. So you've seen the making of. I would like to introduce you to some of the people who helped create this magazine. So can I ask the following people to come to this, the podium? Ariel, Gabriella, Quindy, and Ezra. I would suggest going around. Yeah. Hi, take a seat, take a seat. So Ariel is a Honduran photographer, designer, visual artist, and anti-racist activist from Spain. Gabriela is a Venezuelan storyteller and multimedia journalist from Germany. Quindy is a Nigerian nurse and Afro activist born and raised in Spain. And Ezra is an award-winning journalist and founder of the talk show Karakai Talks from Germany. So as you can see, we have a very international group. Thank you for coming out here tonight. Gabriela, I'll start with you. Everybody, congrats on the magazine. You were part of the project Decolonizing the Newsroom, that project. How was that for you? Let's see if it's on.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much. Here's our baby. So excited. Yeah, so I work with Unbiased News, and this is a cross-border international newsroom that gives a space to to journalists who are facing structural barriers. So that means racism or challenge with the language, or they haven't been able to be published in an international newsroom due to all these challenges that they have to face. And we wanted to kind of bring this, our editorial manifesto, in a way that can connect with the Decolonised newsroom and this project that we did 10 days in Amsterdam. And yeah, we gather a group of journalists, activists, designers who join us on thinking about what decolonizing means for our newsroom and for media in general. And we basically, so at Unbiased News, for example, that's like I want to connect it with what the work we do at Unbiased News, because Unbiased News had a very important role on this project that was leading all the editorial part of the project. And Unbiased News, we believe that misrepresentation can lead to misinformation, and that has been the case with many migrants and perspective of women and people of color and other communities that have been completely absent of major newsrooms across the world, right? So we wanted to bring all these perspectives together that they could actually bring their voices and give their perspective and, be listened, and to just have this space where they can just exchange ideas. And that's what we did during 10 days. And, usually you hear that, I don't know, because you are a migrant, you are not allowed to cover migration because that is not objective, right? Objective. And your objectivity is questioned due to your experiences or your personal experiences. And actually, what people or society sometimes think that objectivity means is something that favors very specific narratives that favors Western perspective and white and male. So what objective that means? At Unbiased News, when we say that we are unbiased, we don't mean that we don't have bias, right? Because first of all, that's not possible.
Human, yeah.
Yeah. We all have different perspectives. We all have different experiences that somehow shape our worldview, right? And what we say instead is that we are very explicit about our bias, and that we are feminist, we are pro-democracy, we are anti-racist. So I think it's very important for us in the Decolonizing Newsroom was that we had this space where collaboration and accessibility and continuous self-reflection was a very important part of this process.
Yeah.
To just think about it and just to have this openness where, the environment was just so great, so everyone felt this, this atmosphere where you can just share what is in your mind.
And Ariel, how was that for you? How was the atmosphere for you? Because you were on the design team of the magazine. Can you tell us more about that process?
Okay, so first of all, thanks to Vivian, who is somewhere in the audience, because this was...
Guapa! Okay.
because this was really a team effort. Also to Julia, who made sure that nothing interfered in our creative work. Like she took all of the boring part of the work. So thank you. For me, one of the most important things with this project was like the part of visual representation of migrants in media. Like there is this general idea that marginalized communities always produce precarious work, and therefore they expect things to look precarious. And I think that has also fed a narrative that we are not as professional or as prepared as our white European counterparts. And this experiment of having like a decolonized newsroom, for me was like a very clear example of how it is not a thing of capacities or professionalism. It's a matter of putting resources into the hands of migrant professionals that can do the work as well or better, depending on each case, right? And I just really wanted like everyone to feel, when they grab the magazine, to feel that it represents their stories, but also that they feel good about it, feel good about being part of this project, and that the people who are portrayed, interviewed, or the projects that are portrayed in the magazine feel good about being part of this project, and also that it's something for our community, this currently developing European community of migrant and refugee media makers, to feel like, yes, we actually can get together and work together to produce very high quality work, and what we need is to have the resources put into our hands.
Yeah. Well, going from the video, it looked like you all had a lot of fun in this process. What would you say was the most maybe surprising or interesting part of this journey? I'll just look at the two of you for now. Because in the video you also shared how easy the collaboration was.
Well, I think like something that I was also saying in the video is that there's usually, like, when you're the only migrant person with a migrant background in a project, you have to constantly not only explain all of their decision-making process and positions, you also have to like defend and fight for every decision you're making. And in this case, it was like there was a base of understanding each other, that even if everyone worked in different areas and had very different stories and backgrounds and very different process of migration,
yeah.
And very
and I can imagine that being like
points
liberating, because you come into the room and you're like, okay, I have to defend my choices, and it's like, oh no, wait, you understand.
Yes,
and then you can focus that energy on actually creating an amazing product.
Exactly, and just having that also, like, I think it made all of us just really want to get the work done the best way possible, because we felt supported by each other, and it was really, really nice to have that.
Yeah, I think I will also add to that. I think we just felt really comfortable working with each other, and we were kind of on the same page. I think we were we were having like really tough conversations. I'm really happy that they are not all in this short video, but we were having like really tough conversations, and you know, like, you can feel like, oh my God, this is gonna be difficult, but it was not, or it was this environment where you had this openness to talk about it, and it was perfect. And I think also just the connection that the whole team has is just really nice. I was just really like so looking forward to being here, and when we just saw each other, we're like, hi, and hugs, and we were just
There's
like,
also so much love in the room. I mean, there's a one guy, oh, I think he left, and he has such a loud clap, and I'm like, yeah! And everybody's so supportive, so you can truly feel that everybody's really rooting for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's the feeling that you get when you are working with people with similar experiences and who have actually had like really have it hard to go through this process to break into journalism as an exiled journalist, or you know, like we interviewed also like so many great people. Like, well, we have two of them here with us, which is really nice. But I think also this power of bringing all these voices together was also something that really still surprised me and amazed me of this project. As Ariel said, I think this is the most, not because we work on this, but this is one of the most beautiful books I have seen that talks about migration and representation and refugees. Like, you know, you are used to see these kind of topics in a very different visual narrative. So I think that's powerful that we are expressing this to the world. This is also migration. This is also refugees doing the work to make the media more inclusive and diverse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wendy, you were also interviewed for the magazine. Could you maybe tell us the origin story of Afro Collectiva and what you do?
So yeah, I want to start with a question, like how many of you knew that for your mobile device or electronic device, tablet, whatever, you need to extract a mineral from the Democratic Republic of Congo? How many of you knew? Okay. And how many of you knew that information from TV, mainstream media, or any mainstream platform?
You don't even know the question. Put that hand down. Finish your question.
You see those four hands? Those four hands are the exception. That's why Afro Collectiva exists, because we as a collective, we are African and Afro-descendant people from so many parts of the world, and we are in the United States, we are in Panama, we are in Colombia, we are in so many Hispanic-speaking countries, and we are of marginalized gender, and we really knew that there was this misinformation about Africa and the necessity of Africa in this world. Africa is a great giant, but it has been historically dehumanized. It has been historically demeaned to be tiny, to be dependent, to be this continent that nothing great comes out of it, while in reality, this is totally the contrary. So Afro Collectiva is this media that has these 3 points of view. It has Pan-Africanism, because we believe Africa is where the world beats, and the world beats because of Africa. We remember that Africa is the origin of humanity. Afrofeminism, because we believe African women and Afro-descendant women have played an important role in history, and we want to take back our protagonist spot. And anti-racist, because yeah, of course, we are black people in Africa, we are black people in the diaspora, and racism is deeply rooted in anti-blackness. And all these experiences of pain and all these experiences of discrimination is what in ultimate instance kind of unite us to create medias like this. So we have these 3 perspectives. And as I said, we really believe that migrant people, Muslim people, African people, but not only African people, Asian people, also Roma people, we are in this world, and there is this image that mainstream media seems to portray about us that is just not fair, and it doesn't respond to the reality of our history and of our experiences. So we really have to take that from them and then say, okay, then you want to write this our history and just misinterpret it, then we're taking it back and we are writing it by our own hands. So this is the aim of Afro Collectiva. We have an online magazine, so we do journalism, and we also have an important platform of digital communication that is the first platform in which we reach to different audiences. We remember that so many digital platforms are really like adapting to context, and social media in these ultimate times has been protagonist to so many process of communicating. So we really do social media. This is our social medias. Follow it. And Yes, and we also have the magazine. So, as I was saying, we have this digital media communication in which we adapt so many information to a kind of model so many people can relate. We have so many videos in our platform, but we also do institutional work. We go into the institutional frameworks in the different contexts we are, and we make sure that there is this educational anti-racism that when we studied, like the people who form Afro Collectiva, when we studied, it wasn't there. So, for example, we made this first course of Black Studies in the University of El Valle, la Universidad del Valle in Colombia, which is so important because then in University of El Valle, we have this Afro-descendant community who had no clue about African history, but they knew they were Afro-descendant. They knew they were linked to their African ancestry, but they didn't knew about their history. This is when our copine Ana made an interview to Aniel Franco, thanks to Espacio Afro. And with Francia Márquez, the first Black vice president of Colombia too, and when I was in the roundtable with Rita Bosajo. So yeah, we really do this institutional work because we consider it's really important. But that's not all. So as a spoiler to the next activity, well, no, not next, but the next to the next, I'm gonna say that we really work through different types of content. And one of them is memes.
Favorite content.
So, yeah, we have this meme that says, I'm trying to translate, so I'm gonna take a little bit of time. So, this says, this is the typical white man who says that slavery is a familiar drama and not a process of genocide and colonial violence. How dare you? And this is like when we say something about racism, like, okay, you're being racist. These white people always say, okay, me, I have black blood because my grandma had like a black stain in their skin. So yeah, I have black blood. So it's kind of justifying like racism by saying, okay, I have a black friend, but instead they have
an old black grandma.
Yeah.
It's a mole, actually. It's a mole, what she had.
A mole, yeah.
Okay.
So we work through humor as this bullet, I think, as this bullet, to just target racism and transform everything by humor. This one says, when you are just arguing with someone and he says, like, I assume he's a man, he says, calm down, woman, don't get too sentimental. Like, how many women have heard this? Yes, yeah. This is a typical reaction. So yeah, we work through memes, we work through humor, we work through different channels to adapt to times and to transform. But this is important for us because we consider that we really have to get to every audience, like maybe young, old. We really have to adapt to make sure that our information is getting to so many audiences. The principal audience we work towards is Black, African and Afro-descendant people, but also anti-racist people, organizations, or people who want to deconstruct themselves to make a better and justice world. So yeah, that's the work we do, and we hope, we're really happy to be in the shift, and we hope this is everlasting, and we really hope that justice is being made by changing narratives.
Thank you. So Ezra, I see you rocking a hijab. You would think that's quite normal, but apparently you're the first hijab-wearing talk show host in Germany. How? Like, how?
I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know how.
I have questions. How? Let's start there.
I have to be honest. I think there's a couple of other hijabi journalists just like Nima in Germany. And I think this is just a phrase that we use for white institutions, for funders to be like, you know, I'm the first one, so give us the money. But I do want to, you know, I do want to shout out to, I think we're about like 10 hijabi journalists in Germany. So I do want to like shout out to them and thank them for the work that they're doing and for like kind of collaborating and, you know, seeing each other. So I don't think maybe I'm the first talk show host with the hijab, but there was a few other journalists with hijab and other people who were not wearing a hijab who made it possible for me to like kind of go into media.
Because what was that journey for you like?
So just to kind of tell you what I do, Karakaya Talks is a social media platform or a channel where we produce news and content and talk shows for millennials and Gen Zs of color in Germany. And basically it really started me and being, it was 2018, being very frustrated about how mainstream media in Germany would display especially women with hijab and how, you know, it was like the typical stereotypes. It just makes me really angry. And I remember that I was like, oh, why is there no other like hijabi woman like go in front of the camera, you know? And then I was like, okay, I am the one criticizing. Yeah. I'm gonna, you know, challenge myself. I'm gonna go in front of the camera 3 times. If I don't like it, I don't have to do it anymore. And then, you know, I can continue criticizing. But then I did go in front of the camera and I was like, I kind of like it. I think I want to continue this. And so back then it was really just a collective friends of mine. We were like, hey, you know what? We're going to invite 6 other women with hijab. And we're going to talk about this one. It was a campaign in Germany, like a sweets company. They were like, oh, you know, we have vegan stuff. And it was a model with a hijab. But in real life, she doesn't wear a hijab. So we're like, is this like true representation or not? You know, and it was interesting. And what I think to me, that was one of the best videos we ever produced. It's super amateur. But just by if you look at the comment section, people were enraged, not by the stuff that we were saying, but just having 6 women with hijab talking them, like, you know, just talking, discussing.
Wow.
It's very interesting, and I love it's on YouTube. I will never delete it. I think I'm gonna do like screenshots and like put it on my wall. So to me, that was like the most proud thing we ever did, and I think it's somewhat pathetic for Germany that hadn't happened until 2018, and the only reason this was done is because people in the community were like, you know, took it upon themselves to produce something like this.
Yeah, but it's beautiful that you did that. Thank you for that. So you use YouTube and other social media platforms to connect with your audience. Do you feel like there's a bias in the algorithms? Like, are they working against you, or?
I mean, this is like super hard because social media did allow us to kind of produce content and to kind of, you know, build a community, kind of, right? But then it's super challenging because, how am I gonna say this? So let's say on Instagram, we have a community, I think we're about like 35,000, and these people have decided to follow us, right? So they opted in. So it was their conscious decision to follow us. But the content that we produce, in order for us to reach the people that actually decided to follow us, we would have to pay money. So the relationship actually we have with our community is being monetized, which is weird, right? So the reason why we exist is because Germany's media landscape was not able to adequately represent us in front of the camera or behind the camera, so we took it upon ourselves. But then again, we're challenged with like these like, oh, we gotta pay. No, we gotta pay to be like seen, to like connect with our people. So I think it's working in social media, it does the job for now. And I'm also like, YouTube still please continue funding us, and like Google please continue funding us. But I will say that I don't think this is the future. I don't think this is sustainable. And the moment there is somewhat like a Web3 kind of content video space, I will be there. Yeah? I will be gone for sure.
Thank you. I want to thank you all for your time. Can I get a round of applause for these amazing creatives? So thank you, everyone. If you want to check out their work, don't forget to step by the exhibitions. And then I would like to ask our next guest to come to the stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'd like to welcome, I would go, yeah, we don't have stairs on the other side. That's a health hazard. Go this way. I'm sorry. I'd like to welcome Sani Ladan and Uqba Mohammed to the stage. Can I get a round of applause, please? So Sani is a geopolitics analyst, specialist in Africa-Europe relations and international affairs. And Uqba is a reporter and co-founder of Bainana magazine, the first medium in Spanish and Arabic, created by refugee journalists in Spain. Take a seat. Would you like some water, by the way? Yeah? Would you like some water? Yeah. So we have a translator with us today, and you will be speaking on his behalf. So Sani, in the magazine you share a quote of your father, and that is, if you're looking for something and you can't find it, do it yourself, kind of what Ezra just said. Where did she go? So how does that relate to your podcast?
Sani, en tu podcast, ¿entendiste? Okay, perfect.
Good evening, everyone. I was speaking in Spanish because I don't feel comfortable speaking in English, so Gabi will translate.
Thank you for coming out to the stage anyway. We really appreciate that.
Bueno, esta frase que digo siempre, que cuando buscas algo y no lo encuentras y tienes la posibilidad de ofrecerlas, la tienes que ofrecer. Es una frase que me dice mucho mi padre. Entonces, ¿cómo lo relaciono con el podcast? El podcast África en un clic es un podcast que nació primero desde la necesidad propia, porque yo soy investigador. No solo que soy investigador, sino que llevaba mucho tiempo trabajando en tema de las migraciones. Trabajo mucho en tema de investigación sobre la relación entre África y Europa. Entonces, y soy consumidor de podcasts. Entonces me di cuenta de que cuando busco referencias en español sobre África no encuentro absolutamente nada. De ahí partió la necesidad de crear un medio, en este caso el podcast África en un clic.
Yeah, so he used to hear from his dad, if you don't find something, just create it yourself, right? And this is connected to the podcast with, in the sense that he had this need of creating something that was not in the Spanish market. This didn't exist. He's also a researcher and an investigator who focuses on connecting Africa with the European culture. So he couldn't find this historical podcast in Spanish. So he had this need of creating it.
Thank you. Uqba, I just said you're a reporter and co-founder of Bainana magazine. Could you maybe tell us what makes it and why does it have such a unique newsroom?
Vale, si me permite un poco contextualizar el proyecto de Bainana, cómo nació. Nosotros somos 4 refugiados sirios en España ahora mismo. Hemos llegado justo el 20 de mayo de este mes, cumplimos 4 años en España. Hemos salido de Siria desde nuestra ciudad tras una campaña militar que lanzó Rusia y el régimen sirio contra nuestra ciudad, y hemos tenido que salir porque va a haber venganza después de esta campaña. Nos ayudó el CPJ, el CPJ, la Organización de Protección a los Periodistas, a salir a diferentes países europeos, y nosotros fuimos a España. Y cuando llegamos a España hemos visto que hay falta de información y hay mucha desinformación a la hora de publicar temas relacionados con conflictos en el mundo árabe o en otros sitios del mundo. Entonces hemos visto una cobertura muy diferente a la situación que estábamos viviendo en Siria y también la situación de la migración, porque nosotros también somos refugiados, inmigrantes, y hemos visto que se está hablando mucho en la prensa sobre nosotros con prejuicios y mucha deshumanización. Hay muchos medios que tratan con las historias de los migrantes como productos y también por el motivo de que nuestro sueño seguir trabajando en el periodismo no queremos dejar después de salir de Siria. Hemos pensado junto a la Fundación Por Causa, que hace investigaciones de periodismo de inmigración.
Gabby, how's that translation going? Are you still there? Just
Sorry.
checking. No, it's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, I will just translate
Okay.
this. Okay, so Banana was founded by 4 journalists who left Syria in a very violent experience. And when they arrived in Spain, they realized that there is nothing covering this world, the Arabic world, or if there is a coverage, the coverage is very different to what they are experiencing. And so because of that, that also created this need for them to make a space for exile or refugee journalists, because also they had this dream of continuing working on journalism, and the structural barriers in Spain didn't allow them to break in journalism. So yeah, that's how Banana is born. And it was supported by Por Causa. That is an organization in Spain.
Y cuando lanzamos Painana hace 2 años, hemos empezado a cubrir temas de migraciones y también de temas de Siria, porque somos de allí, y muchas veces ocurren cosas muy fuertes y la prensa no lo cubre. Por ejemplo, en este caso, el terremoto que ocurrió el 6 del pasado febrero. Estábamos, aunque somos un medio muy pequeño, con muy pocos recursos, hemos estado a alerta máxima cubriendo 24 horas al día, sin dormir, sin comer bien, y además muchísima presión de la prensa española, porque como he dicho, que muchos medios tratan con ese tipo de temas como productos, entonces mucha presión para que nosotros salimos y hablamos en la prensa sobre el terremoto. Y nosotros estábamos en contacto con periodistas en el terreno, estaban colaborando con nosotros y cubriendo el terremoto, y también estábamos en contacto directo con la organización Los Cascos Blancos, que es la única organización que llevaba el tema de rescate a los víctimas.
So Banana is covering a lot of breaking news in the Arab world. And one of the main things that happened last year was, for example, in February, the earthquake in Syria. And they were working super hard, 24 hours, 7
days a week.
7 days a week, yeah. With basically no resources, because they are a very small team, independent, and struggling with their basic needs, but still offering this coverage that was not being recognized in media. However, because of this crisis and everything that was happening, of course, this topic was receiving a lot of attention in the Spanish media, but then they were receiving a lot of requests to they connect them with local journalists on the ground in Syria, but without giving them the recognition for their work. And yeah, that was a problem they were facing last year.
Perfect. Thank you for translating, and thank you for coming out on stage. Can I get a round of applause for these amazing speakers? So we're running a bit late, so we're going to keep this short. We have 4 breakout sessions, and afterwards we are... Oh.
Mention something else.
Yeah, one more thing, of course. Go ahead.
Una cosa así importante, que ahora mismo estamos en campaña de crowdfunding para mantener el proyecto al final de este año, porque nosotros no tenemos ningún apoyo, ninguna fuente de apoyo estable, que vivimos de proyectos, becas, etcétera, y ahora mismo estamos en esta campaña para mantener el proyecto al final de este año. Y si alguien está interesado de apoyarnos en alguna manera, puede preguntarnos cuando salimos, o puede entrar al QR de Binance, puede hacer una foto. Hay muchas formas.
I think I can translate crowdfunding.
Yeah, everyone understood the message. Yeah, they are working really hard to continue doing the work they do. And right now they are in a crowdfunding campaign. And yeah, there are many options to support the work they do. So please, if you have anything, just connect with them, scan the code, and support Binana.
Thank you so much.
So go on off to your breakout sessions, and we'll see you afterwards here for the meme battle. Have fun.